Let's move on to the Arkle. The favourite at the moment is Chapman, who looks, well, one of the maybe joint favourite with Calgary Bay. He and Calgary Bay are vying for favouritism. Talk about Calgary Bay first. Kieran, start with you. Your view of his win. He was very impressive on New Year's Day at Cheltenham. Went the wrong way round at Ascot. But what's your overall view of Calgary Bay?
I think he's the most likely winner. I think this is a pretty poor renewal of the Arkle. I don't think it's a standout at all. I'm seeing the Blues, we've got top rated, but I'd be slightly wary of that. I think it's one of those instances where the horse has had a chance to run in a handicap, which not many novices do, certainly not the sort of inflated mark that he ran off. There's a slight concern about him going around Cheltenham as well. I'm seeing the Blues. I think Calgary Bay is the most likely winner. Personally, I have a concern about Henrietta Knight. They've been going slightly better in recent weeks. Obviously, wonderful trainer a few years ago, but the fact that after it won at Cheltenham, she was even considering going for the Dewsome rather than the Arkle raised plenty of alarm bells. Whether she'll get it there on the day and all will be well remains to be seen. His jumping's excellent. I think he'll be perfectly suited by the good ground, perfectly suited by the nature of the race. I just think that there's no standout, and it might be a bit of a shock, this Arkle. Nothing's really run with anything like the standard, the average winner of the race. And that being the case, I think you might just see a horse improve out of nowhere. Kalahari King, for one, he's £20 to find on ratings. But you know, for a start, he's Ferdy Murphy. Everything's about Cheltenham. And he just hasn't had his conditions. He's going to get good ground. He's going to get a fast run race. I think Cheltenham will suit him well. Obviously, he ran well in the Supreme. So you can see something stepping up. I think it could be a bit of a shock. I'm largely against those at the top of the market.
You're against Chapman?
Very much so against Chapman, yeah. I think he'll do very, very well. He won't be able to dominate a field of this quality. It was a complete egg and spoon race. Straw Bear's pretty much leading horses at Nick Gifford's now. That's how far he's fallen since he was beaten by Tatton, and I think there's no strength in depth to the form. And even his Irish form's been let down. I think he needs it soft. I think he needs 2.5 miles. I think he's very, very ropey as favourite. I think it's only because of the money earlier in the year that he still trades as favourite that the books have probably got him in the book.
Matt, you've been over in Ireland quite a lot during the week. For Paddy the Plasterer, has there been much talk about him, much support for him?
No, not really.
Are you a fan?
Not. I thought he'd be really good, and he's
There's a big race in there for him somewhere, I think.
But there were sort of 2 or 3 Irish hurdlers from last season that we all thought would go on and do wonders in chases this season, and they just haven't quite come up to scratch. I can't see for Paddy the Plasterer being fast enough to win an Arkle. He looks like an absolute plodder to me. But he's one of those, he's like, if he doesn't really stay 3 miles in heavy, and he's not quick enough for 2 miles in heavy, so I can't see him winning an Arkle. Tatton, I mean, if you were betting him running, he was 1 to 20 last time out turning for home. But I think he just got Leopardstown for some reason. They don't put a fence on the running. There's like a 6 mile running. I think he just got bored up the running.
And they say he didn't travel over too well either.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's better than you saw there. Whether he's good enough, time will tell. Calgary, he does jump well, but he did hit one last time. He's a great big gangly thing, and I'm just wondering whether he's coordinated enough to win in a slightly bigger field, if it is a big field. I got one at a price here, because I'm not going to tell you anything about the favourites no one knows already. I don't like Kalahari King, I'll just say that. I thought that might not have even won at Muswell last time if the Dennis O'Regan horse hadn't banged the last. I think he's vastly overrated, Kalahari King. I'm going to have a little bit Tartak each way, in that I think he can go up near the pace. He stays the trip strong. He's got form in this that would mean he'd struggle to win. But Tom George, I mean, he can train anything to win at the moment. So the stable's flying, at least. Let's hope it flies for another week. And I think Tartak, at about 25 to 1, is a fair each-way bet against some iffy favourites. You know, there are many reasons why the top 4 or 5 could win, many reasons why they couldn't win. So in that situation, I'll go for something at a price, and I'll be with Tartak at 25.
There's no champion in this Arkle. There's no Azertiop or Moscow Flyer in this year's race. And I backed an horse at 66 to 1 called Panjo Bear. It's an horse of Gary Moore's who actually beat Calgary Bay at Ascot. Disappointing next time, but they worked him in blinkers the other day. He was a different horse with blinkers on. Just to agree with the lads, it's an awful race, and I've just thrown away a few quid on this horse at a massive price. I know they're going to try and lead with it as well, which means if it goes out in leads, I might be able to get out of it in running pretty early after the first couple of fences. But no real strong opinion on this, just Panjo Bear at a big price.
Andrew, at the end, any view?
Again, I set out to oppose the favourite initially, but I keep coming back to Chapman. He's had 5 runs over fixed brush hurdles or fences, 4 wins and a short head second in a Grade 1. Calgary Bay, the trouble with me for this one is he's only won twice from his 11 starts. He's finished second no less than 7 times. I think he's a great horse to play in exactas to finish second to something else in the race. but his latest win came over 2 miles 5, and put him in your place spot by all means, but don't back him to win. I'm not so keen on the outsiders the other two have mentioned there. Panjo Bear was fortunate, I think, to beat Free Willed and Calgary Bay at Ascot, because the front two took each other on. And Tartak, the one Matt mentioned, is a flat track bully in my opinion, who finished second over 3 miles at the Hennessy meeting. So I can't see an undulating 2 miles suiting him. There's one or two others in there, like Follow the Plan and Cornus, who could go well at decent prices. But for me, Tattenin at around 5 to 1 is a fair bet.
Matt mentioned that Tom George's horses were in good form. Kieran, just a quick view of a time form view of Planet of Sound. I know Philip Hobbs is quite keen on him, and his stable's also in great form at the moment.
Yeah, it's something that we found when we looked at the figures last year of recent winners, certainly winners over the last sort of 20 years, that they quite often, particularly the Arkle, go into the race with a time form P that a horse like Kalahari King or indeed Planet of Sound, that they're capable of improvement under the exact conditions that the festival will bring about. And Planet of Sound falls into that category. I just don't think that everything's quite fallen into place for him yet. I think there is a big performance in him. He's got £7 or £8 to find with those at the top of the market, but I think we're all largely agreed that, apart from maybe Andrew with Chapman, that they're not that intimidating at the top of the market. So I think something could well improve past, and potentially it could be Planet of Sound. But I think it's a race that I'd approach with some trepidation.